Welcome to Black and Gold Weekly, presented by BetSafe Colorado. I'm your guest, Charles Johnson, with you for the next however long it takes. We're going to have some fun in today's show. Despite the heartbreaking 34-31 loss, the Colorado Buffaloes at the hands of the Arizona Wildcats at Folsom Field this past Saturday. Heartbreaking in that I was right there in the very end zone in which the game-winning field goal was kicked. I couldn't believe it. Broke my heart. 10 games in, 4 up, 6 down with 2 to go. This upcoming Friday night, a trip to Pullman, Washington to take on the Washington State. Who's their mascot? The Cougars, Washington State Cougars. And that was an honest mistake. I wasn't sort of belittling the Cougars. I'm a friend of the Cougars. But nonetheless, another road test, another opportunity for CU to win one, get to 5 with a road game in the season finale against Utah to see if it could get to 6. But we have to talk a little bit about that heartbreaker again, the loss to Arizona. And if you're a Buffs fan, you look at this, and if you were to tell me when the season started, look, CJ, the Buffs after 10 games would be 4-6. Certainly progress in its own right with 2 games left and having played at least two games on the schedule in which they let one slip away. I go back to Stanford. I think that was a turning point in the season. You up 29-zip at halftime and you let that one get away from you. And then this past weekend, it did look like the Colorado Buffaloes had put it together only to let it slip away at the very end on the game's last play with a game-winning field goal by Arizona, 34-31, the final score. The way the season has unfolded, however, has made it a little bit disappointing to date. 3-0 to start the season, a season opener victory against Texas Christian University on the road, a home victory against our rival Nebraska, and of course the game in Folsom against Colorado State. And then things began to unravel just a little bit, certainly some uneven play, some holes that has to be plugged. But again, if we were to focus out and say, look, this is what the upcoming season the 2023 season will look like for the Colorado Buffaloes before the season start, I would take it. I would take it and chalk it up to progress, knowing that with this coaching staff, notably or namely Coach Prime at the helm, there's more Louis to be bought into Boulder, Colorado, with respect or as a result of the recruiting classes that are at least promising to follow Coach Prime here in Boulder. So the future is certainly bright, but we don't want to just overlook what's taking place right now because we're living through it. And as football fans, we live and die with each Saturday. And this upcoming week, it will be a Friday night game against the Washington State Cougars. But with that, we have to go to our special guest, man. We've had some great guests on this show. And I got to tell you, this one right here is close to my heart for a number of reasons. And I'm talking about none other than Michael Westbrook, first-round draft pick for the then Washington Redskins, now Washington Commanders. That just goes to show how old he is. He was actually picked by the then Washington Redskins. But me and this guy, we go way back. We both hail from Detroit, and I got to greet him properly in doing so. What up, though?
What up, though, big brother? What's going on?
Hey, man, I am good. All is well on my end. It's good to see your face. I know you've been a frequent visitor to Folsom Field over the course of this season. How many times have you been back?
I've been there about 6 times. I think 6 games.
I'm having a little audio. Are we okay with the audio? Sounds a little low. I think we're good. Okay, we're good. 6 games here. Yep, that's perfect.
I've been to 5. I've been to 5 home games, and I've been to Arizona State. I went to Arizona State. Right.
I got to ask you, man, before we get into our shenanigans and the course of history, let's take care of the business first. Right. No one loves the University of Colorado and the football program more than you. I think you and Coach Prime were you guys teammates at one point in the NFL?
Yeah, he came to Washington in 2000, and so we had our early battles in training camp and played cards every day after practice and got to know each other really well. And so when he landed the job at Colorado, he called me up, and he also was teammates with Cordell as well. So that's why you see both of us around all the time, because he's just keeping people he know close to him. So
tell me, Mike, I want to get your assessment of the program. I started the show talking about the progress that's been made, how uneven the season has been. Probably not a surprise to most folks, given all the change that's taken place in such a short period of time. But from Michael Westbrook, All-American, all everything, Colorado, Hail Mary at Michigan, that Michael Westbrook, your assessment of what's taken place here in Boulder.
Well, CJ, it's just that with anything, we already know, like when the season first started, you have to have the components to be successful, right? And most of the components were there, but the key component and the heart of the offense is always going to be what? The offensive line. And if you don't have an offensive line, look at 1990, look at 1994. Why were those the two most successful teams in the history of Colorado? Because of the offensive lines.
Yep.
100%. Like if you go straight down the offense, right? They can pretty much match us, almost player for player. You know what I'm saying? Except for the offensive line.
Yeah.
They got the quarterback. They had Charles Johnson, Darian Hagan. We had Cordell Stewart, right? They have Shador, right? Go to the receivers: Mike Pritchard, Mike Westbrook, Charles Johnson, Ray Caruth. They have Xavier Weaver, Jimmy Horn, Travis Hunter. They got the receivers. They don't have the offensive line. Okay, and you cannot operate properly, and everybody knows this. It's not like it's a secret, anymore. It was for me. That was my only. Even after the second game, I was like, we need an offensive line right now, or this season is not going to be what we want it to be, and that's exactly what it turned out to be.
Now, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's obviously a deficit there, and while those young men are playing their hearts out, you're right. We're just not there yet on the interior, quite frankly, not just on the offensive side of the ball, but on the defensive side of the ball as well. You mentioned that receiver room, though, Mike, and clearly this is something if you were to ask me, the greatest receiver to ever don the black and gold in Boulder, Colorado, I'd be hard-pressed to find a name to put ahead of Michael Westbrook, and there's been some greats. Listen, Mike Pritchard was phenomenal.
Yeah, I copied him. I looked up to him. I copied everything he did, but I just put it on 8 more inches.
Yeah, right. That's right. And about 150 more pounds on the bench press. The late great Charles E. Johnson, your counterpart. You guys were probably one of the best duos in college football history. Certainly, when you all were on the field together back in '93, the best receiving duo in college football history. And there's been some greats, but we're looking at this group of receivers. I'd be hard pressed to find since then a more talented bunch. Break this group down: Xavier Weaver, Travis Hunter, and Jimmy Horn Jr.
It doesn't exist. I mean, I was at training camp with these boys, and they're all fast. They got hands. They run routes well. And I know for a fact the IQ of these guys, they're studying. They're in the classroom. It's phenomenal to see the transition from, what we had to what it is now. And, you can see why the receiving core is so talented, not even based on the games, but just me personally being at practice, watching them practice. And I'm like, wow, they're gonna open some eyes this year.
And they've done just that and continue to open eyes. Speaking of opening eyes, you said you've been here 5 times, and I've been around, for since 1987, and of course we had our run, Mike. And you talk about the '94 team. I think it was the Daniel Graham bunch, and what was that, 2001? One of the great teams as well. Yep, absolutely. But I have never seen anything like the environment, right? Some say it's circus-like. Some say it's the pageantry of college football. Have you ever experienced anything like this, football aside, just what Coach Prime brings to the environment each and every game day?
Well, it's like steroids. It's right time, right place, perfect timing. Okay, so when we had what we had, our fans were spoiled. Okay, because we were just a winning, you guys started that in 87, 88, 89, 90, and we just kept winning. You know what I'm saying? And so our fans they came to all the games, of course, but they just expected us to win. And it wasn't any pomp and hype surrounding us at all, because we were the winningest team in the country. Okay. Now you got Prime. We all know who that guy is. So we have Prime coaching the team that was 1-11 last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is he going to do? And he come out the gate and beat TCU. Oh man, everybody bought in immediately. Everybody bought in, and as soon as that happened, I was there, not at TCU, but I was at the second game after everybody bought in, and it was like Ringling, what Barnum and Bailey ring circus. Like, it was CJ, and the amount of money that they have generated in the community is insane. People are moving to Boulder. I ain't never seen nothing like it. Never seen nothing like it. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse because what's going to happen is they're about to start winning games because he's about to ransack the portal and go get some off. He knows what he needs. He's one of the smartest guys I know. He's about to go ransack this portal. He's going to go get some grown men to go block and some grown men to go rush the passer. And it's going to not be fair for teams next year.
Yeah, Mike, I share your excitement. You say it's going to get worse. I say it's going to get better. I think we mean the exact same thing. Hey, now you neglected to mention, I saw a clip of you or picture or video, I can't remember what it was this past week, and you were on the sideline at the Arizona game, and you were in a photo with none other than Julius Erving, Dr. J. Oh. And I've never seen Michael West. You are one of the most prideful individuals I know. I've never seen you fanboy over anybody. You look like a kid in a candy store. What was that like for you? We talk about all the celebrities that's on the sideline, but Julius Erving, Dr. J, is holding court with Michael Westbrook. Take us through that moment.
Oh, man, it's just, it's because he's the king of swag. Like, before swag was a word, Dr. J was swag. Like Jordan, like I said, there would be no Michael Jordan without Dr. J. Everybody's like, Jordan had all of this swag, but no, you can't even say he had swag because they didn't know Julius Erving. I never said, Jordan was the most swag. No, I never thought about that because in my brain, like, this guy with that afro, chewing that gum with the leather coat on, like they didn't have a word for it, but he was it. He was that. Like High Prime say, he was him. You know what I'm saying? And so
he was him before him, right?
Yes. And I'm standing in front of him, CJ, feeling like a little boy. I'm feeling like this 1977, 1978, like 1980. I'm feeling like a little kid. And I had to gain my composure so I could actually have a conversation with him because I wanted to actually talk to him. And we talked, and it was a beautiful thing. And I kind of grew up within the next 15 minutes of talking to him. And I made it to like 30. I made it to 30. Yeah.
Hey, it's Black and Gold Weekly presented by BetSafe Colorado. Mike, I got to ask you this question. It's a fair question, and I'm curious to see what your answer is. I think about some of the great plays in the University of Colorado history.
Yeah.
Which was bigger? Was it the fifth down or the miracle at Michigan?
I think it was the fifth down.
Wow, you surprised me with that one.
In my opinion, it was the fifth down.
Say more. Yeah. Tell me why. Was it because your boy had something to do with it? I mean, you're just giving love to your boy?
No. Okay. No. I'm not about to give you a good story. No. Listen, I got into a debate at practice on last Friday. I was at practice last Friday in Colorado, and some people were there, and they were like, "Why did you guys take away the fifth down? Like, why did y'all do that to us?" I'm like, "What?" I was like, I was a baby. That was Charles Johnson. What you talking about? And then I was like, she's like, because do you know what that would have done for our program had we won that game? I was like, but do you know what it did for our program because we won that game?
Touche.
It allowed us to win a national title. That fifth down. Like you can't blame the players. That was not our fault. We were just doing our jobs. Okay. So we won the game fair and square. You can't say it wasn't fair because we didn't cheat. Okay, and they didn't cheat. They just made a mistake. Mistakes happen all the time. Calls get called. There shouldn't be calls. Holding calls, like all the kind of stuff happens all the time. So that wasn't us. So we won a national title because of that. That's why it was bigger to me.
I appreciate that. And Mike, next time someone from Missouri accosts you and start questioning you about the fifth down, here's what you tell them. Yeah, we did snap the ball 5 times, but we only attempted to advance it 3 because we killed the clock on 2 of the downs. So by my math, they owe us 1 down. We didn't really try to win the game on 5 different plays. So now, having said that, let's revisit just briefly the miracle at Michigan. Okay. You break the huddle, last play of the game. You know it's a Hail Mary. What's going through by the way, the setting couldn't be more incredible. You're back home. You're
Man,
in the big house at Michigan. I know you had
man,
friends and family all over the place. Take us
75
back
of
to
them.
that moment. 75.
Right. 75 Westbrookites was sitting behind our bench. I had all the tickets for me was directly behind our bench. So
Right.
moms, moms,
Absolutely.
stepfather, all my homeboys from Joy Road, all my homeboys from Chadsey, like everybody was up in there. Like I had the whole place packed behind us. And so
That's
it couldn't have been
awesome,
more,
man.
yeah, it couldn't have been more exciting. And when we were in the huddle, we know the play. When we break the huddle, Blake lines, because Blake was always the actual. I'm the tipper because I high jump 6'11" back then, so I was supposed to be the tipper, but I don't I love Blake, but I don't trust him to catch the ball, and I'm like, what I'm saying, like so if you notice I switched spots, like, and we never
Right.
practiced that, we never ever practiced it, and so on the way to the line of scrimmage I just made the decision to change spots. I was like, no, Blake, get up, to go up there, and he's like, what, wait, what? I'm like, you tip it. And that was it. So we running down the field. That humidity was killing us. I was cramping up in my calves and my hamstring running down the sideline. And so, I just started looking up. Okay, there it is. Oh, the ball looked like it was sitting above the sun. He threw that thing so high, it was insane. It was all slow motion. I mean, I told this a million times. And when it came down, literally time stopped. That ball froze in the air. It did not keep it froze. And then I reached up and I grabbed it. Because it wasn't even moving, CJ. I swear to God, that ball was not moving when it got tipped. It got tipped, and it just froze right there in the air for me. And I just reached up and grabbed it. Boom, got suffocated, and the rest was history. Awesome.
One of the great moments, not just in Colorado football history, but in college football history. I'll never forget that moment in which that took place. I was so happy for obviously the university and the program. But for my homeboy, Michael Westbrook, man, what a magical moment. Mike, before we let you get out of here, man, I can't, there's your football playing days speaks for itself. You were amazing on a number of different fronts. As a human being, one of the best dudes I've ever met, certainly one of the best teammates I've ever had, just as a human being. But you did some pretty bad things to some other human beings post football career in your martial arts or jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was. I just know you beat a lot of dudes up, man. And I'm like, for a guy that's so nice, you were one of the few guys who never took a drink,
right?
Never hit Colorado, never hit nothing, and you just decided after you retired from football, you're gonna beat people up. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, like you think about this: when soldiers go to war, right, and then they come back, they have this PTSD, and now they've been, what they had to do was horrific. Overseas or wherever they were, and it was horrific. They had to do all of these things. They had to teach their mind to just compartmentalize things in such a way that they can actually continue to do their job, right? And so now the war is over. They go home. They're working at Rent-A-Center.
Okay.
No. So when I finished playing football, that's why football players, it's hard for them to retire. Okay, because they have this post thing that going on with them. So I started doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu right at the tail end of my career, and I was like, oh, I'm going to continue to do this, and I continue to do it, and I never thought about football ever again.
You fell in love with it.
The transition was easy because there was another physical thing I could do that, because how physical football is my point. Football is such a physical thing. And as a man, you do it for your whole entire life. You start as, in youth football and high school and college and go on to pros, hopefully. And you do this thing for 20 plus years of your life. And then now you got to go work a regular job. It's just for most people, it's hard. But for me, it wasn't, because I actually found something else that I can do that was physical and mental at the same time, and I didn't have that problem.
Well, it's interesting how, and I appreciate and I wouldn't expect any less from you, how you sort of sanitize down in such a brilliantly intelligent way what you did post career, although you kind of skimmed over the part where you just beat dudes up. I mean, at the end of the day, He just beat dudes up, man. And was it Pros versus Joes or something like? Didn't you appear on one of those shows,
Bully
man?
Beatdown. Bully Beatdown. You're talking about
Bully Beatdown, and you just
yeah.
beat the poor man up, man. I mean, and that look on your face right now, that little smile is how you look the whole time. There's something to be studied there, Mike.
Okay, let's do this. Since CJ has been, Charles Johnson has been on Michael Westbrook. Let's talk about the road trip from Detroit. So you want to talk about that? Okay.
Look. I think the show has the end
here. Let's talk about the road trip. Hey, so CJ, we decided to go to Detroit.
Did we literally just lose the audio right there as Mike was about to go into something where I'm not sure the statute of limitations have run out on?
Right.
I think we did lose it. Did we lose the audio?
No, you got to take yours back. You want to give it to me, I got to get something back to you. You got to get something back. Okay. So we go on a trip to Detroit. We pack our car, right? So we know, obviously, me and CJ from Detroit, but we take our friends with us. So his little brother, my roommate, and a couple of friends of ours. So it's like 6 of us in a car, a little small SUV. We look like the Beverly Hills Billies. We about to drive 26 hours to Detroit. We put all of our luggage on top of the thing. I don't know how that luggage stayed up there to this day, but we driving, right? We getting it on. It's wintertime. So somebody in the car is talking trash to CJ. CJ, I don't know, your audience, that y'all don't know this about my guy, but sometimes he like to play too much. Okay, he play too much. He play way too much. So it's 17 degrees below zero with the chill factor, right? He done rolled the windows down and told everybody if they don't shut up, he gonna leave the windows down for 24 hours, right? So he got the window down for about 45 minutes. Everybody is bundled up, and so he's like, "Y'all gonna shut up?" So everybody like, "Yeah, roll the windows up." So he rolls them up, right? So now the windows up. Everybody like, "Man, I can't believe you did that." Everybody complaining about it. Now somebody started complaining again. We about to start fighting in the back seat, right? Everybody about to start fighting. So CJ like, "Cause y'all don't shut up, I'm gonna turn the heat up." So somebody, because we had some car full of dudes, somebody passed gas, somebody farted in the car. So CJ was like, "Oh, you want to fart? Okay." So he rolls the windows up, turns the heat all the way on high, and now everybody getting undressed in the car because we about to pass out. So this is for your listeners, so they'll know how twisted you are. Okay, so I
plead the fifth
for that one.
Listen, I don't recall the shoe. Hey, the glove didn't fit. Any colloquialism or whatever. It wasn't me. Mike, listen, man. I listen. I love seeing you, man. I love when you come around. So many great memories. Like I said, you're one of the handful of guys. I mean, we have teammates that from years ago, but there are certain guys that are just special, man. And you are special to me, having a lot to do probably with from where we hail, but just a great guy, man. And I love you, brother, and keep up the great work. Keep doing what you're doing. I know you run gyms down there and you're training folks and you're doing some special things, and keep up the great work, man. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on the show and looking forward to seeing you soon, bro.
Big brother, thanks. I love you so much, man. It's always an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
My guy, Michael Westbrook, the great Michael Westbrook. And I tell you what, man, like I said, Matt, this has been something that's has been special for me. This whole show, Black and Gold Weekly, presented by BetSafe Colorado, has been a blessing for me because it allows me to reconnect in this forum with some of the great Colorado Buffaloes and some of the great men that you will ever know. And I'm blessed to call these guys friends and teammates. So with that, listen, 2 games left. Friday night, Washington State in Pullman, Washington. The Buffs will try to get to their 5th win. We'll be back next week to talk all about it. Thanks for joining me and my man, Michael Westbrook, right here on Black and Gold Weekly, presented by BetSafe Colorado. We'll do it again next week, everybody.